It doesn't matter how much money you make, it matters how you spend it. We can't just keep slaving away making money, we need to know how to spend it. There's no better way to spend money than on experience. So however much money we make in this video, we're gonna spend it on our next experience. So we're gonna go ahead and do 2 morning shifts. It's just because how the schedule works out, and I just want to try a couple of different things. I think that it's gonna be all right. We're still new to this area in terms of just trying to get a feel for it. Usually, I don't know why, but every single time I move to a different zone, the first couple of days, I always make a little bit more, and then somehow it always drops off. So we're just still poking around and seeing what kind of results we get. This may look like a really good order, $11 for 4 miles. I should be able to knock this out really quickly. But it turns out that one of the restaurants that I had to drop by, this one right here, Pier 88, it just opened. The doors just opened. That means they're just getting ready, everything ready, and so I had to wait for a little bit. I get this order, Wingstop. I swear, sometimes I feel like DoorDash and Uber Eats, they spy on each other and they know what order you're working on, because I'll often get orders where I'm going in the same direction. So they'll just stack orders on top of each other. So here I had a Wingstop order, and I get another Wingstop order while I was at Wingstop in the same direction. I don't know if that's coincidence. I feel like, I don't know, just conspiracy theory. When you're doing all these orders, you always feel like the algorithm's out to get you, or the algorithm knows this or that, but you never really know. I take this next order. It looks kind of bad, 7.2 miles, but remember, I just look at the time, how long it takes me to get there and back. So it should only take me about 10 minutes because I'm going on a highway. I should be able to get there and back in no time at all, actually. And I think it all evens out in terms of the miles I drive. It's just the time that's important. The time, as long as I make $1 per minute that I get there, and then it should even out to the trip back. So about $30 an hour is what I'm aiming for. While I'm there, I get an order and I get this adjusted pay because I'm doing a delivery in Seattle. And you know, even though they give a $0 tip, it was pretty close and it was pretty fast for me to knock out. I think just in general, delivery in Seattle has gone down in terms of the tips, just because they know that the minimum wage got extended, and then also the minimum wage for what contributes to the minimum wage is that you get paid by miles too. So it's like 74 cents every mile and 44 cents every minute of active dash time. All right, so it's the second day. Today, I'm actually gonna try a couple different Seattle orders where I have to go way up north, but not too far, like on the edge. And for Uber Eats specifically, I feel like they don't tell you immediately whether or not you got an adjustment. They'll tell you like the next day, as opposed to DoorDash, which is in real time. So we're gonna have to take a couple risks and see if we can make a couple more bucks. I feel like it has to be. I mean, some of these orders are like $5 for like 7 miles. So we're taking a risk and see if we can get some good results. So I'm getting good orders and good offers overall and good volume. So this one, $9.50 for 3 miles, calculated out in my head, probably about 10 minutes. So just around the amount of dollars per time that I'm aiming for. And that's basically all I do. I just make sure that I know the area and I know how long it takes me to get to location just based off of the picture only. I don't look at the miles because it could be different routes. So this one I have to sacrifice 9.5 miles all the way up to Seattle. I think they're going to do an adjustment for me, but I don't really know. You don't find out till the next day. Well, long story short, they don't do an adjustment. This is $5 for 10 miles just going there, and then I have to drive back. But later, a couple months later, well, a month later, I get an email that says that Uber Eats is under investigation by the Seattle city. But before I realized that, I'm still feeling pretty good about the day overall, just because I'm getting good volume, good orders. I am taking a risk accepting some of these orders that go to Seattle that I'm not sure if Uber Eats is going to compensate me fairly. Like for example, I get this other one. So this one says Tequila, but it goes pretty far up towards Seattle, and it says large order. So I'm thinking, okay, it's probably gonna be really good. When I accepted and I looked at the address I'm delivering to an Amazon facility. So a fellow driver, except Amazon pays for their gas and pays for all their benefits and whatnot. So maybe this person understands what I'm going through. Maybe they are going to tip me a good amount and tip me like afterwards. That way I get their order in on time. Well, long story short, they didn't. That $5 was just about all I was going to get. This order looks good, but it wasn't, because when I got to Party City, they didn't blow up the balloons yet. So I had to stand there and wait while they blow up the balloons, delivered to this discount direct place. And when I went in there, they're all staring at me like I was a freaking weirdo standing with this pile of balloons. And then finally they call over the manager, and the manager came over and just took the balloons and went back to her office. Let's do a recap. We made $156.30 with a $3 tip. That is really bad, but you have to take into consideration, like I said, I was trying out some of these Uber Eats orders where it sent me to Seattle. It didn't work out. It was worth a shot, I think. I mean, we could have got paid big bucks for making those long trips. So to do a recap of what we're gonna need for our camping trip. So we're gonna spend $15 on gas, so minus that. We're gonna need a sleeping pad and a sleeping pillow, and we're gonna need a stove, a pot, a knife, some repairs on our previous boat that we have, and we're gonna use some supplies from that video. And then the rest of the money will go to supplies. After patching the hole in our boat, we are gonna take it and launch it out on a beach so that we can go to a boat access only beach where there's clams. Because we don't have any money, we're gonna have to dig for our food, and then we're gonna go camping afterwards, and then we can probably go back and get some clams the next morning. Unfortunately, this is our boat launch point. The tide is too low. We can't even get our boat out there into the water. So I think we're gonna have to check out this other beach just to make sure, just to see if we can try to get clams over here. I mean, I've never been here before, so I mean, we have to figure out how to way to get food. So this is not really the spot to dig clams. You see how these got these rocks? They're not really hiding underneath these rocks. Usually it's smaller gravel, sandy. So we're just scooping up here and there just to see if we can find anything. We found a couple of these other kinds of clams that you can eat. There's a good amount of oysters, but we don't really have the tools to shuck the oysters. You're not allowed to take the shells off the beach. So we're gonna just keep taking a look around and see if we can get some manila clams. So I'm not seeing anywhere that is a good spot to do any clamming. The tide is less than a foot right now. This is low tide, and it's less than a foot. So we should be fine in terms of the water, but actually, in actuality, if you take a look at this is more so, you know, where you can start looking for clams. Unlike this area right here where there's just too many rocks. It's unlikely the clams will be underneath these rocks. So I'm not really sure if this is even a good spot. It's spotted on the Washington Department of Fishing, like their website, as a spot that you can go clamming year round, but I'm not really seeing anything. It might be just a better spot for oysters. So we're just gonna keep taking a look around, otherwise I gotta think of a different plan for food. All right, this is a huge bus. Usually I don't go to, this is the first time I've been to this beach. Usually I go to two other ones that are open, that are not open right now. So unfortunately this beach is a bust, and we're gonna need to figure out, well, I brought extra food, but I was so confident that I was gonna succeed. So this beach is a failure. Couldn't make it into that bay area, the Bob Bay area, where the boat access only. beach, that's looking like a no-go period, because the closest boat launch is about 4 miles away, and I don't think our boat is gonna make it there unless I bring extra batteries just to be safe. And my original plan didn't work out because that area was apparently the whole area is like private, and the tide was out, and so I couldn't even launch the boat even if I wanted to. So let me go make it back to the car and figure out the food situation. All right, so we're in another area. This is our last shot. So far it's not looking too promising just because there's nobody else here. I don't think people really go during this time, but still, if there was, maybe 1 or 2 people, that would have been more reassuring. But we gotta try anyway, because what else are we gonna do? What options we got? All right, so this is where we're going out at. This big ass wasteland. Let's see what we can get. Okay, so we made it past further around the Bay Area. Over there is all the mud. It's like black mud, and it suggested that we don't need to dig through that. So we are finding some clams. Look at this one. So that's a clam, but that one's too small. So I think we're getting closer. We just gotta keep looking around and dig a couple more holes. All right, so when you're looking for these clams, basically this is what you're looking for right here. See all these dead clams? That means, they're in this area, this vicinity. So you just scrape out the bottom of it, and then from there, you should be able to, grab the ones that you think are just eyeballing it and see if they're the right size. And then afterwards, then you take one of these and then you measure it. For speed purposes, just grab as many as you can and then check. And then leave back the ones that you can't take. So after you hit limit, should be good. See, literally just hook them out. See, they're all right here. Boom. 3 decent sized ones. And then we check like this one. See? Whoops. From the widest 2 angles. So if you can fit it like this, that means it's good. After you hit your limit, what you want to do is clean them off in some salt water, and then scoop some salt water, and then this is the container that we have, but scoop some salt water and leave them in there so they spit out the sand. You don't want to use fresh water because clams don't live near fresh water, and if you put them in fresh water, they'll die, and then they won't be so great when you eat them. Okay, so we finally made it to the camping spot. This will be home for tonight. So let's just go ahead and set up camp. So it's supposed to rain tonight, at least in the early morning, so we just want to be safe and put the rain fly on. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk down to the beach and hang out while it's still light out. I think they were pretty solid in terms of setting up. And we're just gonna let the clams simmer in the salt water. When the tide goes out, the clams are not submerged in water, but when the tide comes back in, they start spitting out the sand. So you want them to be submerged in the salt water, and then they'll just spit out all the sand, and then that way we won't be eating sandy clams. If you look down, looks like the tide has came in, and we won't be able to walk along the beach, but we can still get close and just take a closer look to see if, you know, there's anything cool down there. But other than that, it's just, I guess this is the best view of it, and we probably won't be trekking along the beach. If we had time, we could probably, I could probably carry everything down here and launch the boat still. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to launch the boat at all, even after I made some fixes. And that way I can get a better feel for if there's any more holes, any other things that I need to patch up. Yeah, that spot, I thought I hit the gold mine when I mapped it out, but sometimes things don't turn out the way you want. Okay, here's a couple more. This one got knocked over, but it's all white. It's huge. Here's one's just like it again, but it just like ripped out of the ground. That one, those two look appealing. All right, look at this red one right here. I think if you eat this one, you'll grow 3 feet taller, and if you eat a green one, you gain an extra life. So I'm getting hungry, and let's go ahead and prep our dinner. This is all the ingredients we're gonna need. Always assume that you're gonna succeed. So here's our handy dandy new knife. First, we're gonna make the ginger fish sauce, and we use this as the dipping sauce. We already got sugar and fish sauce in here. We're just gonna add a lot more ingredients. Our container's not that big, but that's okay. It's good enough. Ah, smells so good. These seeds in chili have capsaicin in it. That's what you spray. That's what the contain in bear spray. Ah, smells perfect. So even though it's a big mess right here, we're gonna throw the rest of it in our pot and we're gonna steam those clams. Usually they'd be more lively and they'd be squirting out, but I think they were squirting out all they could. So I think you can see the sand at the bottom. All right, let's toss some goodies in here. So not only do you want to make sure they spit out all the sand, but you actually want to clean them as closely as possible, because you can actually drink the juice if you mix it right. So here we're gonna go ahead and throw some ginger in here, garlic, chili pepper, and some cilantro. And then we're gonna put some beer in. So a good way to know that they're done is that they open up. So all of them are pretty much open. This one, yep, pretty much. You don't want to boil them, you just want to steam them. So until they open up. I think it's pretty good. So the goal here is to eat this for dinner and then actually go back and, because we hit limit, and get some more and eat for breakfast. So that's what we're gonna do. And until then, we're gonna enjoy. And like I said, you can actually use this as a spoon and scoop some of the juice and drink it. Save the rest of this for tomorrow. This morning, and it rained last night, like I said, but it's a good test because this tent, if you look at the bottom, it doesn't look like it has like that thick tarp that some tents do. So I just want to see if it leaked, and it looks like it didn't. So that's a reliable tent. So we're gonna go ahead and pack up and roll over to the beach, get some clams. Okay, so we're back here and we got here a bit early. Look at the tide, it's way higher than before. We're probably a good 2 hours, so that's about 2 to 3 feet of water. That's the tide's still up, and you can see that the water's still pooling right here, and even as I dig, there's still water coming out. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one.